Hey gang, hope you're having an awesome day. Today we are digging into another Reddit story. If these stories make you laugh, gasp, or rage with me, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new one. Alright, much love as always, let's get into it. My entitled brother threw a fit because I bought a house. Yes, I'm aware of several similar stories involving entitled family members wanting houses they have no claim to. But I guess this really happens, and it's no picnic when it does. I suddenly became a homeowner some time ago because a friend of mine's grandfather was moving to Florida and his house was available. I knew the old man well. Rest in peace, he passed away a few months later from a sudden stroke. Anyway, he offered the house and property to me for $200,000. I practically ran to the bank to apply for the loan. The house is a manufactured home from the 80s, but it was remodeled repeatedly by the former owner and has a separate garage building. The home and property could have gone for more, but he offered the house to me because he knew I'd take care of it. I had $30,000 saved that made a good down payment, and I was happy to leave my apartment. I'd wanted to eventually move out of there after what my cheating ex did anyway, but that's a story for another time. As for my brother, well, he went bonkers when he found out I bought a house. He had a repeated history of imitating me for the past decade. But there was no way he could copy me by buying a house with his terrible credit and inconsistent income. He argued with me, claiming I was just trying to make him look bad by doing something he couldn't. No, I just wanted a house, and the price was too good to refuse. Then he told me I should have turned it down because he had no good reason. And I could practically see his screws getting looser with every excuse he made. I pointed out all his excuses were just because I did something he currently couldn't. And when I bought the house, it had nothing to do with him. I just wanted to be a homeowner for the security and extra space. I finally don't have to store my camper at my parents' house. I have a garage where I can store stuff and tinker. I bought a camping cot. He bought a camping cot. I went to the gym. He went to the gym. I bought good beverages. He bought good beverages or took them from me. I bought a new TV. He bought a new TV. I bought a truck. He bought a truck. I bought a camper. He bought a camper. I bought a used portable DVD player. He bought a used portable DVD player. I went camping in a specific place. He went camping in that specific place. I bought a house. He 404 error. Insert tea kettle noises and Benny Hill chase. He also acted like a complete child toward me when he built his mini Ram thing. He actually confronted me and said it was cooler than my boring Tundra because it was something original. I swear he did the dumbest mods to that vehicle, like putting twist studs in the suspension coils to raise the ride height. After weeks of openly fuming about me being a homeowner, my brother suddenly acted like he had another brilliant idea. He wanted to move in with me. I laughed at him. Then he ended up demanding I rent one of my rooms to him and for only $200 a month, utilities included, because he shouldn't have to pay any more than that since we're family. He flipped his lid when I said, absolutely not. Then he got our parents involved again. Only this time they actually sided with him at first, though it was mainly our mother. She and my brother showed up demanding I let my brother move in. And my brother had a smug look on his face, thinking he was getting his way, thanks to Mommy Dearest. I said, absolutely not, to both their faces, and my mother cried that I was using harsh language with her and being unreasonable when I had the space. I called my dad, and he told my mom that he'd warned her I wouldn't do it and to leave me alone. Mom whined that my brother was living out of his camper next to a shabby house he was renting space from. I said that wasn't my problem to fix, and my brother has proven countless times that he cannot be trusted. My brother was fuming to the point of being red with veins popping out. My mom tried one more time to convince me with tears, and that just made me angrier. I went on a rant that was something like this. Bro can't buy a house, so he wanted to invade mine. I refused to ever live with my brother again. I would sooner live in the woods without electricity than with him. He's intentionally irritating, and if I had him as a roommate, I just knew he'd take my drinks, mess with my belongings, and invade my privacy nonstop. Not going to happen. No matter how many tears Mom tries using on me. My mom broke down and finally conceded she'd never convince me after that rant. She had to take my brother by the hand and leave with him because he initially refused to go and kept begging her to turn back and make me let him move in. I then yelled to him that it was amusing he called me a mama's boy before because he'd become exactly that. And this was just like the time he tried to get our mother to make me trade vehicles with him because he felt ashamed to be driving a minivan. He pulled away from Mom, then told me to go prove myself in the horse I rode in on. I laughed and pointed out I didn't ride in on anything because I was already home. But his creaky horse was waiting for him in the driveway. He lost his temper again and looked like his head was going to explode. But Mom got in front of him and told him to just go. Then he drove off in his creaky Silverado without her. He'd driven her there. I had to take her home. While taking her home, I made it very clear to my mother why I could never trust my brother again. His life was not my burden to bear. I told her how little my brother was offering for rent anyway, which he'd conveniently not told her. Then I later rented that same room to one of my best friends for $600 a month, and he pays for utilities. The other two rooms are my bedroom and a home office. There's an extra room in the separate garage too. So my mother tried to make me let my brother live in the garage instead. There's enough room in its storage room for a bedroom. Again, I said absolutely not. And that's since been turned into another friend's rented room with a bit of a plywood remodel. Yeah, I kind of rented both the spare bedroom and garage room out to friends out of spite. But I wasn't letting my brother live with me in any capacity. My brother later ended up having a complete meltdown in front of our parents over how he's the older brother. He should be the one who owns a house first. He's supposed to be successful, and I'm supposed to be the big loser in his shadow. Our dad poked him with his cane and told him that's not how life works, and they had a big argument. They told him to get out and not come back until he's cooled off and learned that he's just being a pointlessly jealous jerk. The next part I post, my brother did the dumbest thing of all. Edit. I came home late to over 600 comments and still more pouring in, far too many for me to answer. So, I'll clear some things up here. Yes, I am not in contact with my brother, and he's not in contact with the rest of the family as well. I do have cameras inside and outside my home, and a dash cam too. My brother knows this and has stayed away since he left town. Some say I am a jerk too. Not arguing that, because it's true. I'm not exactly the nicest guy. But have someone like my brother in your life and see how peachy you turn out. Some have mentioned having siblings just like my brother. Sadly, I know very well people like him are increasingly common these days. My dad said a number of times that my brother probably would have ended up in a bad situation if he lived here 50 years ago with the way he behaves. As for our ages, I'm 30 and my brother is 32. I have not given my parents a spare key to my house. One is with a friend and another is very cleverly hidden. My house is a manufactured home, but it's not in a trailer park and has been significantly modified with new siding and a new roof, and has a separate garage building. The previous owner was a former general contractor, and he loved to build and repair. And yes, I do have good insurance. I keep seeing comments about a clock radio. Pardon me for not getting the reference, but I do own a digital alarm clock that has a built-in CD player. It currently plays Tina Turner's Proud Mary to wake me up. My brother and I were raised pretty evenly. He was always a bothersome person, but became quite a jerk after moving out. Our mother didn't favor him. She criticized him plenty. She didn't normally side with his foolishness. She just wanted him to live in a better place than in a camper next to a house filled with people using Zaza. Additional information. My brother willingly moved into that camper. He was renting half a room in that house filled with Zaza users, then convinced the landlord to let him live in his camper on the property for the same price. And he bragged about his camper a lot, which has a full gaming center, complete with a PlayStation. He only wanted to invade my house to irritate me and make his cost of living even lower. He also doesn't like camping nearly as much as I do. He mainly liked just aggravating me by following my actions. He loved to make me miserable. In fact, he felt entitled to make me miserable. That's the kind of person he is. Do I have a restraining order against my brother? Not really. Just didn't bother, because even if I did, it'd only be for like a year. And my brother wouldn't let something like that stop him if he was truly determined anyway. Oh boy, where do we even start with this one? I mean, the brother here seems like a prime candidate for an entitled sibling showcase. Seriously though, the way he tries to mimic everything OP does is just a bit too close to what you'd expect from a 6-year-old, right? Not a grown man in his 30s. It's almost hilarious if it weren't so frustrating. Now, think about it, folks. Who in their right mind demands to live in someone else's home for dirt cheap just because they're family? And then they double down by throwing a fit when told no? That's just absurd. And getting mommy involved, hoping she'll change your sibling's mind? It's almost comedic. But really, you gotta give props to the original poster here for standing their ground. Honestly, it's like the brother expects the world to revolve around him and everyone to just hand him what he wants because, well, he exists. Like, come on, man. Life doesn't work that way. To be fair, the entitlement isn't just annoying. It's kind of sad, too. Instead of appreciating what OP managed to achieve, he's wrapped up in jealousy and bitterness. That's no way to live, you know? And hey, renting the room out to friends out of spite? That's a move up any pettiness scale, and I'm kind of here for it. But yeah, I didn't see any malice in OP's actions, just sheer frustration at dealing with someone who's entirely self-absorbed. Alright, let's check out a few comments and see what others had to say. Plus Data 1099 says, he has what my family calls golden child syndrome. He feels like the most important person in the family, and that we should all bow down to him. OP replies with, he's more like a golden child wannabe with main character syndrome and a small ego complex. Mr. P00 per writes, I recently had a friend who went on the same rant after I allowed him to stay with me to get back on his feet. Apparently, he's supposed to be the one with the house, vacations, and stable career, while I'm supposed to be staying in his guest room. You made smart choices in your life where he just didn't. My friend traveled, barely worked, got to go to fun conventions, and was coddled by people who also tried to help him. Some people are just too arrogant to see that they aren't owed other people's success. Ace Blazewing says, "You finally did the one thing your brother can't copy you on, and he clearly can't stand the idea of you having something he doesn't, after a lifetime of copying you." It sounds like he has a fiction-fueled delusion of how sibling dynamics work, believing that just because he's older, he should be better by default. That certainly reeks of narcissism, but if there's still more to come, I dread what new lows he has sunk to. Dave65. Gito writes, "My father bought a house in a middle-class neighborhood. A few years later, his brother bought a similar house about a half-mile away. He regularly bragged to the family about how he had caught up and surpassed his older brother. My father was very calm and level-headed, ignoring the noise. 2 years later, my parents had a late-life surprise and along came a sibling. My parents decided they did not want this sibling to attend school in the local large urban school district and began house hunting. When my sibling turned 4, they bought a house in a moderately expensive suburban neighborhood. My uncle had a major meltdown because my father was showing him up and making him look bad. He never spoke or interacted with my father again, and I have not seen my cousins for 40 years. My uncle died young of a massive heart attack, partly because he could never catch up with my father." Gur Quirky writes, "I have 2 sons who could be the characters in this post. They are not. Our oldest dropped out of college and took the money we paid for tuition and books, etc. He's been working and doing okay, not great like he pretends, and wasting money in ways you would not believe. He buys old cars, bikes, electronics, basically junk. His younger siblings are running circles around him, and it's now evident that his reckless choices are catching up. If we buy him video game consoles or anything he asks for, he sells it for something else and says we don't give him anything. His wish lists have the most outrageous items that start at $1,000 or more because he says he is not cheap. I sent a watch for his birthday that was engraved, and he was angry that I ruined it with his monogram. The middle child has graduated college, moved far away for work, and is buying his first house. He bought a new car and has saved and scrimped to do so. He has fun, travels, goes out, and does outdoor activities, but he's measured with his splurges. Big brother now wants to do outdoor stuff, travel to the same places, and sends gift wish lists with everything he now desires so he can camp and hunt. It all sits unused, so we don't indulge anymore. The youngest children, twin girls, are now graduating and going to graduate programs on the dime of employers that hired them from internships. They have also been saving for 4 years and working while in school, and one is buying a house, a tiny fixer-upper for sure. They moved to opposite coasts to spread their wings, and their big brother is in a rage that they did it with minimal help from us. They just work and save and have taken small opportunities when they're presented. Nothing is packaged up in a bow for them. The oldest son is livid and wants what he thinks he is owed. He is now sending texts asking for his graduation-level gifts like $1,000 jewelry, $500 shoes, and an all-inclusive vacation for him and his girlfriend. We gave no such extravagant graduation gifts to the others. He made this up in his head that he wants it and deserves it. These deposits for homes and cars are from paving, working 2 jobs, and getting signing bonuses. He is 30 years old and has wasted so much energy trying to appear successful instead of just working for it. When he was a teenager, he ranted that we had a master bathroom in our bedroom and he should have it. We should switch rooms. He was angry anytime we, as parents, bought anything that he couldn't claim. It's narcissism coupled with delusions of grandeur. Out of 4 kids, he thinks he's special and deserves what others work for. He believes he is the one who deserves the pot of gold. I feel for all involved, especially as a parent watching this mess. But they're not kids anymore. They have to live the life they chose, period. Wow, reading through these comments really emphasizes the sheer level of entitlement OP's brother has, doesn't it? It's like, seriously, when did being family become a free pass to invade someone else's space for cheap? And the comparisons with others' struggles? They hit close to home. Overall, I totally back OP's decision to set boundaries. At the end of the day, it's about self-respect, right? But hold on, guys. Just a few days later, OP dropped an update to this saga, so let's dive into that and see what unfolded next. My mom believes the court will award her my house. I bought a small starter home by myself during the housing market crash. I lived there for nearly a decade before buying a larger home with my husband. My parents expressed a strong desire to live in the smaller house because it was easy to maintain. Since they had previously experienced foreclosure, they were unlikely to secure another mortgage. Additionally, my father is retired and my mother does not work. They wanted to rent the house from me. To accommodate them, they used their over six-figure inheritance to pay off the mortgage of around $50,000 in exchange for what was essentially discounted rent. A lease was drafted, stating this as a prepayment of rent and that their monthly payment would consist of taxes and insurance, totaling $350. The amount would only increase if taxes or insurance rose. We signed and notarized the lease, which included standard terms, and it has been in effect for some time. To clarify, I do not make any profit from this house. Recently, I informed my parents that the rent would increase by $3, yes, just $3, due to a slight hike in insurance costs. My mother reacted furiously, accusing me of being money hungry, threatening to undo improvements she made to the property, and claiming ownership of the house. She declared that I am attempting to charge them for my personal home's insurance, and that a court would side with her and award her the house. We have a notarized lease with my parents listed as tenants. I am the sole individual on the deed. My father, lacking assertiveness, demanded to see the bills, possibly believing I was deceiving them. For context, this house is within commuting distance to Manhattan, where studio apartments can cost around $1,500. This is a house with a large yard for their dog, and I could easily rent it out for $2,000, as I did before they moved in. I provided them with copies of the tax and insurance documents bearing only their address and pointed out the benefits of discounting taxes when paid in full 90 days early. I advised my mother to consult a lawyer to get a reality check. Consequently, it seems my father agreed with me as my mother is now seeking a divorce. Update. First, I want to thank everyone for their support. My post was mainly a venting outlet due to being very upset by this exchange and dealing with some health issues which my parents are aware of. Several common questions have come up. My parents have lived in the house for 4 years. My mother has a history of entitlement and alcoholism. My father worked a challenging job for 36 years and underwent heart surgery, which motivated me to help him retire. They proposed renting the house and paying it off as a prepayment of mortgage so that the only substantial monthly expense would be their health insurance. I had other prospective tenants interested in renting my house, but I agreed to my parents' request. They did not co-sign on the mortgage or assist with the down payment, and their names are not on the deed. Rent increases have previously been applied due to rising taxes and insurance without issue. A big reason why my husband urged my father to retire and enjoy life was the premature passing of my husband's father, who never got to experience retirement. His inheritance aided the down payment on our new home. My mother's outbursts over $3 have become my breaking point, given her history of placing burdens on me. After high school, I paid $200 per week to them until moving out at 20, working around 65 hours per week alongside school to afford it. My parents faced foreclosure after I left. I naively included my mother on my phone plan, covering her phone for 2 years, receiving only 3 months of payment during that time. She promised but failed to contribute money for my wedding and stopped supporting school and clothing expenses when I was 16 because I had a job. Though this situation is full of warning signs, I always trusted my father more and believed I was helping. I love the house and hope to return to it one day, or allow my child to live there during college. Despite my mother's threats of divorce, these claims are regular and often do not manifest. Alright, let's talk about this situation with the mom who thinks she might actually get a house through sheer willpower or something. Yeah, not flipping likely. So, to start, this whole thing screams entitlement from a mile away. I mean, the parents got to move into a cute little house, paying way less than what the market dictates because, they're family. And she has the nerve to flip out over a $3 rent increase? Jeez, that's one less latte a month, maybe two if you hit up a trendy cafe. Yet her mom has the audacity to threaten court action? I gotta say, what parallel universe is she living in where courts just hand out houses like that? Especially when there's a signed lease and her name isn't even on the deed. Talk about delusional. Plus, it's not like they haven't lived there comfortably for 4 years and all the paperwork's been crystal clear. So it's kind of crazy how entitlement and a sprinkle of delusion can stir up such unnecessary drama. I feel for the poster here who's been more than generous, especially given the freeloading history. A little respect and gratitude shouldn't be too much to ask, right? This mom has been way out of line with all these demands and tantrums, and it sounds like she's been pulling stuff like this for way too long. Alright, let's check out a few comments and see what others had to say. Take and Toss a 520 says, "Kick them out then. Send them the eviction notice and let her try her case in court." OP replies with, "I told my father I would, but my mom is convinced that a judge will award her the house and claim that I'm money hungry. My husband suggested printing out rental listings in the area to show them the choices between $353 or $2,000. I also tried to explain the clauses that would allow me to evict her, but she believes I can never force her to leave. I'm not sure what she's thinking." Stang1776 says, "Is all this over just $3? Not that you are at fault here. A line needs to be drawn, and if you don't draw it, they will cross it at every opportunity. Also, are you serious about considering divorce? It's just mind-blowing to me. OP responds by saying, "Who knows? She called me, claiming she was divorcing him, wanted all her money back, and never to speak to her again. Of course, she's threatened divorce before. I don't know where she would live because she can't afford anywhere, and it certainly won't be with me." Stefaniki writes, "Never mix family or friends with money or business. Often they start to feel entitled to it over time, whether you're supplementing their income, paying their bills, offering below-market rent on a property you own, or providing free or discounted services. I hope she tries to find a lawyer to take your house because they'll all tell her she's utterly mistaken." OP responds by saying, "I don't even earn that much more than the average income for my area, but honestly, with grocery prices and other expenses, I can't save a dollar. I have a child in daycare, a mortgage, a car payment, and more." Emotionally English writes, "She's in for a rude awakening with the divorce and finding a new place to live without a job, expecting to pay $350 a month. She'll have to face the real world." So, after reading through all this, it's clear that the Redditors totally have it right. This mom's entitlement is just off the charts. I mean, who thinks they can just waltz into a courtroom and demand a house because they got a little upset about rent? That's like a whole new level of delusional. And the fact that the OP has been bending over backward to be generous? Wow. It's mind-boggling how some family dynamics can turn into such messes, all over something as trivial as a few bucks. Honestly, I can't believe she threatened divorce either. Like, does she think demanding money or trying to evict her daughter is a great way to hold a family together? It all just gets so much worse with her refusing to accept the reality of her situation. Some people really do need that hard wake-up call. Anyway, let's keep this emotional roller coaster going. A few months later, OP has some updates to share regarding this wild situation. So, let's see what's cooking. Am I the a-hole for telling my niece her mother tried to give her away as a baby? I, a 28-year-old male, got into a huge argument with my sister, a 31-year-old female, last week. The argument had been simmering for a long time as tension between us has been high for years. When I was 17, my sister had an accidental pregnancy. When she told her boyfriend about it, he left her. Due to our religious family, she kept the baby, but once her daughter was born, she panicked. She didn't want to go through the legal troubles of adoption, so she asked that my mother and I take care of her child. There was no legal custody arrangement, but it was an agreement made within the family. I essentially raised my niece from birth until she was 3 with help from my mother, as she was working to support the new addition to the family. I dropped out of school to care for her, feeding her, changing her, and teaching her how to walk while my mom was at work. Then my sister met her now husband, cleaned up her life, and suddenly wanted her kid back. With no warning, she moved back home, said thanks, and started being a mother. My niece is now 11 and doesn't remember all that my mom and I did. It's been a family agreement to forget this all happened until the argument. During a fight, my sister made a petty comment, implying that since I lost my job recently, I can't handle responsibility. I snapped and told her she was lucky her daughter was too young to remember how she abandoned her. My niece overheard this and now wants to know what I meant. I outright said that her mother didn't think she could raise her and left her with me and grandma. Now my sister says I traumatized her daughter, and my mom says I should have kept the secret like we agreed. I think this secret couldn't stay kept forever. Am I the a-hole? To provide more context, when the argument happened, I had put my niece to bed hours ago. We were at my mother's house, so no one knew she would come in. After my niece was born, my sister moved states to get a job. She was 20 and I was 17 at the time. In the aftermath, I said we can't go back now since my niece already overheard us all talking. I suggested that as a group, with her stepfather, we should explain the situation better. But since the event, my sister has been saying that we should let it blow over and that my niece will forget if we don't bring it up again. I'm frustrated at this and at how she's now blaming me alongside my mother. My mother believes I'm in the wrong for arguing with my sister in the first place, whereas I say she has no right to criticize me for losing my job when I lost my education, caring for her child. I'm trying to get in contact with my niece's stepfather to ask for his opinion. Yes, I was asked by my mom to drop out of school, and I did so. I didn't go to college later. I had no intention of hurting my niece, but she had already overheard what was said, so I felt that keeping it from her now would just cause confusion. I'm now trying to backpedal the best I can with the family's assistance to properly explain the situation to her. But my sister and my mother both want to just pretend this never happened and hope my niece forgets as she grows up. I'm starting to wish I was clearer from the beginning. I said I was 17 when my sister had the accidental pregnancy. I meant that I was 17 when the baby was born. Nah, not the bad guy for me. Seriously, what a mess we've got here. I mean, can you imagine being in his shoes? Dropping out of school, literally raising a kid that wasn't even yours, all while your sister vanished to sort her life out. That's like trying to patch up someone else's mess, and then the mop just gets snatched out of your hands the moment things settle a bit. So here's the thing. This guy gave up a huge chunk of his own life at 17, right? While the sister was off finding herself, he was the one doing the grown-up stuff. It's wild to think about, to be fair. And now when she had the nerve to make a snarky remark about his responsibility, that takes some serious nerve. Look, secrets like that, they're kind of a ticking time bomb. You can't just assume the kid won't eventually figure it out. Kids are smart, and this niece definitely deserves to know her past. I do feel for the niece, though. She's caught in a whirlwind she didn't ask for, but at least our OP, maybe without intention, opened the box, which might just be, in a weird way, necessary. So the big takeaway here, maybe communicate, folks. Pretending things didn't happen? That's not really going to solve anything, just makes it worse, right? Let's check out some comments and see what others had to say. Spare Article 396 says, your mother completely lacks responsibility for allowing you to derail your own life for the sake of a 20-year-old woman not wanting to step up. It's shameful. You shouldn't have said what you said, but I can't even begin to understand the resentment you must feel. You are not the a-hole, make no mistake. It was an a-hole thing to do. But I'm giving you a pass. Where Were the Adults says, wow. So your mother was okay with you sacrificing your entire future to save your sister? Now your mother is angry you aren't still playing the dutiful son who does exactly what they are told? Your sister messed up at 17, but your mother was supposed to be the adult in this situation, and her best response was to use her 17-year-old son to cover for her sister. And what was your dear sister doing while you were raising her child? Yes, you've got a serious mother problem. You are not the a-hole. Edit. Rain Mista pointed out, I had the ages wrong. Your entire family is a problem, mother and sister. Last Caterpillar 407 says, secrets never remain that way, especially secrets that never should have existed. You are not the a-hole. It seems most here cannot grasp that you were a teenager too, and forced to drop out of school because of your sister's poor decisions. Why? The a-hole in this scenario is your mother, who did not parent and had you taking on the responsibility of a parent when you were just a kid yourself. Your sister is an a-hole too because she is not thinking about the child, but about herself. She feels guilt and doesn't want to have to explain this to her child, preferring to sweep it under the rug. And Necessary Cup 9628 says, you are not the a-hole. Your sister has some nerve talking about a lack of responsibility. Have she or your mother acknowledged that they literally stole the start of your adult life from age 17 until she came back? When you were finally done raising her child, did they give you any support in getting your education? Did your sister financially reimburse your mother? It's wrong that she just gets to have everyone accommodate her life while she throws stones in a glass house. Although it wasn't ideal for your niece to hear this, honestly, she deserves to know. Her mother might be mom of the year now, but what if she divorces her husband? She's shown that she flakes when situations get hard. OP replies with, from the moment my mother and I started taking care of my niece, we were all told never to bring the whole situation up, even to each other. This means no finances were ever sorted out, and the idea was that my niece would never find out, even when she turned 18. And Normal Wish 4984 says, that was not the right way for your niece to find out about her past. But I'm also shocked that you were used as a teenager to take care of your sister's baby. You were only 17. Your sister is not the sharpest tool in the shed. Insulting you when she knew what you sacrificed has to be one of the poorest decisions she could have made. I wish you all quick and strong healing. So, after diving into this emotional roller coaster, I have to say I'm right there with those Redditors. It's complicated for sure, but OP was pushed, I mean, look at the situation he was thrust into. He didn't just lose his teenage years, he lost part of his childhood for the sake of his sister's irresponsibility. It's time for some accountability, right? At the end of the day, secrets can only stay buried for so long. As much as it was a heavy revelation for the niece, she deserves the truth, don't you think? Anyway, let me know. What are your thoughts? Were you feeling for OP too? And don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories like this. There's a lot more where that came from.